In the realm of automotive manufacturing, where precision engineering meets high-stakes production lines, Toyota Motor Corporation has long been regarded as a benchmark for reliability and innovation. However, the story of the initial problem discovery in the Toyota Tundra's engine saga unveils a rare chink in that armor, highlighting the complexities of modern vehicle assembly. This narrative begins in the early days of the 2022 model year rollout, when Toyota introduced its redesigned Tundra full-size pickup truck, a vehicle that represented a bold departure from its predecessors. The new Tundra featured a groundbreaking powertrain, the V35 AFTS engine, a 3.5-liter twin-turbocharged V6 gasoline engine designed to deliver impressive performance with enhanced fuel efficiency. This engine, internally coded as V35A, was engineered to produce up to 389 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque in its standard configuration, marking Toyota's shift away from the venerable 5.7-liter V8 that had powered earlier Tundras for over a decade. The V35A was hailed as a technological marvel, incorporating advanced features like direct fuel injection variable valve timing and a high-pressure fuel system, all aimed at meeting stricter emission standards and competing in the fiercely contested North American truck market against rivals like Ford's F-150 and Chevrolet's Silverado. The initial problem discovery can be traced back to the manufacturing facilities where these engines were produced. Toyota's engines for the North American market, including the V35A, are primarily assembled at the company's state-of-the-art plant in Huntsville, Alabama, operated by Toyota Motor Manufacturing Alabama. This facility, which opened in 2003, employs thousands of workers and utilizes cutting-edge robotics and automation to machine and assemble engine blocks, crankshafts, and other critical components. The machining process involves high-precision tools that shape raw metal castings into functional parts, such as the engine block and cylinder heads. During this phase, metal shavings, burrs, and microscopic particles, collectively known as machining debris, are inevitably generated. Under standard quality control protocols, these contaminants are supposed to be thoroughly removed through a series of cleaning procedures, including high-pressure washing, ultrasonic baths, and visual inspections. However, in a subset of V35A engines destined for the 2022 Tundra models, this cleaning process proved inadequate, setting the stage for a defect that would later ripple through the automotive industry. The first inkling of trouble emerged in early March 2022, mere months after the redesigned Tundra began reaching dealerships and customers across the United States and Canada. According to documents submitted to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, the federal agency responsible for vehicle safety oversight in the United States, Toyota received an initial field report from a dealership or service center indicating that a vehicle equipped with the V35A engine had experienced a sudden stall while in operation. This report, part of Toyota's routine post-production monitoring system, prompted the company to initiate a recovery and analysis of the affected engine. Engineers at Toyota's North American headquarters in Plano, Texas, along with teams from the manufacturing plant, disassembled the engine and conducted a forensic examination. What they uncovered was alarming. Small metal particles, remnants of the machining process, had not been fully cleared from the engine's internal passages and bearing surfaces. These particles had migrated into the main bearings, the critical components that support the crankshaft and allow it to rotate smoothly within the engine block. Over time, or in some cases abruptly, this contamination led to scoring and excessive wear on the bearings, culminating in bearing failure and, ultimately, engine seizure. To understand the gravity of this discovery, it's essential to delve into the mechanics of how such a defect manifests. The main bearings in a V35A engine are precision-engineered sleeves made from a composite of metals, including aluminum and tin, designed to withstand immense rotational forces and high temperatures. Lubricated by pressurized engine oil, these bearings prevent metal-to-metal contact between the crankshaft and the engine block. When machining debris enters this system, it acts like abrasive grit in a finely tuned machine. Particles as small as a few microns, thinner than a human hair, can embed themselves in the soft bearing material, creating grooves and hotspots. As the engine operates, particularly under load during acceleration or towing, the friction increases, leading to overheating. This can cause the bearing to spin out of position, block oil flow, and trigger a cascade of failures, loss of oil pressure, knocking noises, and eventual complete engine shutdown. In the worst scenarios, this could occur at highway speeds, posing significant safety risks such as loss of power steering or braking assistance, potentially resulting in accidents. Toyota's initial analysis confirmed that the debris originated from the engine block machining stage, where cylinder bores and bearing journals are honed to exact tolerances. A lapse in the cleaning protocol, possibly due to variations in production runs, equipment calibration, or human oversight, allowed these particles to remain trapped in oil galleries or crevices, only to dislodge during engine break-in or normal use. Following this pivotal March 2022 field report, Toyota's response was swift but methodical, reflecting the company's storied emphasis on Kaizen or continuous improvement. Internal teams formed a cross-functional task force comprising engineers from design, manufacturing, and quality assurance divisions. They began reviewing production records from the Huntsville plant, focusing on batches of engines produced in late 2021 and early 2022. Data from computerized manufacturing systems revealed inconsistencies in the debris removal metrics for certain assembly lines. To corroborate the findings, Toyota requested and analyzed additional failed engines from the field. By mid-2022, several more reports trickled in, each echoing the same issue: unexplained engine noises, reduced power, or outright failures attributed to bearing damage. One notable case involved a Tundra owner in the southwestern United States who reported a loud knocking sound after just a few thousand miles, leading to a warranty replacement. A section of that engine showed debris concentrations in the lower end, confirming the pattern. As the investigation deepened throughout 2022, Toyota collaborated with suppliers involved in the engine components. The crankshafts, for instance, are sourced from specialized forging companies, while bearings come from global leaders like Federal Mogul or Mahle. Although the debris was traced to Toyota's own machining processes, the company scrutinized the entire supply chain to rule out external contaminants. Laboratory tests using scanning electron microscopes and spectroscopy identified the particles as primarily aluminum and iron alloys, matching the engine block material. This eliminated theories of foreign material intrusion during shipping or assembly. By December 2022, Toyota had compiled a chronology of events, documenting over a dozen confirmed cases. These were not isolated anomalies. Statistical analysis suggested a potential defect rate affecting a small but significant percentage of the roughly 100,000 V35A engines produced for the initial Tundra rollout. The broader context of this discovery cannot be overlooked. The 2022 Tundra launch was a high-profile event for Toyota, marking the first full redesign in 15 years. Price starting at around $40,000, the truck targeted construction workers, off-road enthusiasts, and families needing robust towing capacity up to 12,000 pounds in top trims. Early reviews praised the V35A for its responsive turbocharged power, a stark contrast to the naturally aspirated V8 it replaced. However, whispers of reliability concerns began circulating on online forums like Tundra Crew and Reddit's Toyota Tundra subreddit as early as spring 2022. Owners shared stories of unusual engine sounds, prompting speculation about oil quality or break-in procedures. Toyota's dealer network, meanwhile, started logging these complaints through the company's warranty system, which funneled data back to headquarters. It was this grassroots feedback loop that amplified the initial field report, turning a single stall into a systemic investigation. By early 2023, Toyota's data aggregation revealed a troubling trend. Failure rates were higher than expected for a new engine platform. Engineers conducted accelerated durability tests on exemplar engines, simulating hundreds of thousands of miles in controlled environments. These tests replicated the debris contamination and confirmed its destructive potential. Concurrently, Toyota engaged with the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration under federal reporting requirements. Preliminary defect investigation petitions were filed, though not publicly disclosed at the time, to avoid premature alarm. The agency's Office of Defects Investigation reviewed Toyota's submissions, which included detailed failure mode and effects analyses. This collaborative scrutiny ensured that the issue was not overstated but addressed comprehensively. The initial discovery phase culminated in February 2024, when Toyota's executive committee approved a voluntary safety recall. This decision was informed by over 2 years of accumulated evidence, including field reports, warranty claims, and internal testing. The recall, officially announced on May 30, 2024, targeted approximately 102,000 vehicles, primarily 2022 and 2023 Tundra trucks, along with a smaller number of Lexus LX600 sport utility vehicles sharing the same engine. Owners were notified via first-class mail, urging them to schedule free inspections and potential engine replacements at authorized dealers. Toyota committed to covering all costs, including loaner vehicles during repairs, underscoring the company's customer-first philosophy. In retrospect, the initial problem discovery in March 2022 served as a sentinel event, exposing vulnerabilities in even the most rigorous manufacturing ecosystems. It prompted Toyota to implement enhanced cleaning protocols at the Huntsville plant, such as additional ultrasonic cleaning cycles and real-time debris detection sensors. For the automotive industry at large, this episode reinforces the importance of post-launch surveillance. As vehicles grow more complex with electrification and turbocharging, the margin for error narrows. Toyota's transparency in documenting the chronology detailed in National Highway Traffic Safety Administration filings has been commended by safety advocates, though critics argue the 2-year investigation timeline delayed relief for affected owners. Nonetheless, this chapter in the Tundra's history illustrates how a single field report can unravel a web of manufacturing intricacies, ultimately safeguarding thousands of drivers from potential harm. This detailed account of the initial discovery phase, while focused on the technical and procedural aspects, also highlights human elements. The diligence of service technicians who filed those first reports, the expertise of engineers piecing together the puzzle, and the patience of owners navigating uncertainty. As the recall evolved, it would expand dramatically, but the seeds of that escalation were sown in those early investigative months. Toyota's V35A engine, once a symbol of forward-thinking design, now carries the weight of this lesson in quality assurance, reminding the industry that even giants must vigilantly guard against the smallest particles of imperfection. Following the painstaking initial discovery and internal investigation detailed earlier, Toyota Motor Corporation transitioned from analysis to decisive action in the spring of 2024, marking the launch of the first major recall phase for the problematic 3.5-liter twin-turbocharged V6 engine designated as the V35A. This pivotal step came after months of accumulating evidence from field failures, warranty claims, and rigorous testing that confirmed the machining debris contamination as a genuine safety defect capable of causing main bearing failure, engine stall, and loss of drive power. On May 30, 2024, Toyota formally notified the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration of its decision to conduct a voluntary safety recall, officially catalogued under NHTSA Campaign No. 24 V381. The announcement reflected Toyota's commitment to regulatory compliance and customer safety, even as the company emphasized that the issue stemmed from a specific manufacturing configuration rather than a fundamental design flaw in the engine architecture. The scope of this inaugural recall phase targeted approximately 102,000 vehicles, a figure derived from Toyota's detailed production records and VIN-specific tracking at its Huntsville, Alabama engine plant and assembly facilities. Primarily affected were model year 2022 and 2023 Toyota Tundra full-size pickup trucks equipped with the non-hybrid V35A engine. These trucks represented the early production runs of the redesigned Tundra platform, which had debuted to much fanfare in late 2021 as a technologically advanced competitor in the American pickup segment. In addition to the Tundra, the recall encompassed a smaller but significant number of luxury sport utility vehicles sharing the same powertrain, certain model year 2022 and 2023 Lexus LX 600 models. The Lexus LX, a premium off-road capable SUV built on a body-on-frame platform similar to the Toyota Land Cruiser, utilized the V35A to deliver refined performance with towing capacities exceeding 8,000 pounds. Hybrid variants of the Tundra, known as the I-Force Max, which pair the V35A with electric motors for boosted output, were notably excluded from this phase, as Toyota's data indicated that the hybrid configuration incorporated different bearing specifications or assembly processes that mitigated the debris risk. Toyota's defect description, as submitted in the Part 573 Safety Recall Report to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, painted a clear picture of the hazard. The machining debris, leftover metal particles from cylinder bore honing, crankshaft journal finishing, and other precision operations, could remain in the engine's oil passages or bearing areas despite standard cleaning steps. Over time, these contaminants would circulate with the engine oil, abrading the main bearings that cradled the crankshaft. Progressive wear could lead to bearing material displacement, oil starvation, catastrophic seizing of the rotating assembly, and sudden engine failure. In extreme cases, this could happen without warning during highway driving, depriving the driver of propulsion, power-assisted steering, and braking support, thereby elevating the risk of a crash. Toyota stressed that while not every affected vehicle would experience failure, the potential for unpredictable stalling made proactive intervention essential under federal safety standards. To address the defect, Toyota outlined a comprehensive remedy plan that went beyond mere inspection. For vehicles confirmed to have the susceptible engine configuration, determined by production date codes, engine serial numbers, and specific bearing part numbers, dealers were instructed to perform a full engine replacement at no cost to the owner. This drastic measure stemmed from the recognition that cleaning contaminated engines post-assembly offered limited long-term assurance. Once debris had potentially embedded in bearing surfaces or oil galleries, partial remediation risked residual issues. In cases where an engine had already failed under warranty, Toyota had begun replacing units as part of standard service, but the recall formalized this process and expanded it to asymptomatic vehicles. The company also committed to providing loaner vehicles or reimbursement for rental cars during repair downtime, acknowledging that engine swaps could take several days or even weeks depending on parts availability and dealer scheduling. Notification efforts commenced shortly after the recall filing. In June 2024, Toyota began mailing owner notification letters via first-class United States Postal Service mail to registered vehicle owners and lessees, whose vehicle identification numbers matched the affected population. These letters detailed the safety risk, urged owners to contact their nearest authorized Toyota or Lexus dealer to schedule an appointment, and provided a dedicated recall hotline for questions. Owners were encouraged to visit Toyota's official recall website or use the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's VIN lookup tool to verify if their specific truck or SUV was included. Dealers received technical service bulletins and repair procedures in advance, including updated engine assembly protocols to prevent recurrence in replacement units. These new engines incorporated enhanced cleaning methods, such as additional high-pressure flushing cycles, improved filtration during final assembly, and verification testing to confirm debris-free internals. The rollout of repairs unfolded in phases to manage logistics and part supply. Early priority went to vehicles with reported symptoms, such as unusual engine knocking, loss of power, or diagnostic trouble codes related to low oil pressure or misfires, followed by proactive replacements for unaffected but at-risk units. Toyota's North American parts distribution centers ramped up production and stockpiling of complete V35, long block assemblies to minimize wait times. Some owners reported smooth experiences, with repairs completed within a week and courtesy transportation provided seamlessly. Others faced delays due to high demand, particularly in regions with heavy Tundra sales like Texas, California, and the Midwest, where full-size trucks serve as daily drivers for work and recreation. Public and media reaction to the first major recall phase was mixed. Automotive journalists and consumer advocates praised Toyota for its transparency and willingness to replace engines outright, a costly concession estimated in the hundreds of millions of dollars when factoring in labor, parts, and logistics. Safety organizations highlighted the recall as a responsible response to a defect that could have life-threatening consequences. However, online communities of Tundra owners expressed frustration over the scope and implications. Forums buzzed with discussions about resale value depreciation, concerns that even replaced engines might carry stigma, and questions about why the issue had not been caught during pre-production validation or early quality audits. Some owners filed complaints with the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, contributing to an open defect petition that monitored the situation. Class action lawsuits began to emerge in various states, alleging diminished vehicle value and inadequate initial disclosures, though Toyota maintained that the recall fully addressed the safety concern. Throughout the summer and fall of 2024 into early 2025, Toyota continued to monitor field performance of both original and replacement engines. Warranty data showed a decline in new failure reports for vehicles addressed under the recall, suggesting the engine swaps were effective. The company also implemented manufacturing upgrades at the Huntsville plant and its Japanese counterpart in Tahara, where some V35A variants are produced, including stricter debris monitoring, automated vision systems for cleaning verification, and revised bearing designs labeled as improved in later documentation. These changes aim to restore confidence in the platform moving forward. Despite these efforts, the first major recall phase proved to be only the opening chapter. Persistent reports of failures in vehicles outside the initial scope, particularly later production 2023 and 2024 models, prompted deeper scrutiny. Toyota's ongoing analysis of returned failed engines and expanded warranty claim reviews revealed that the contamination issue extended beyond the originally identified production window. This realization set the stage for the dramatic expansion announced in November 2025, which would add over 127,000 more vehicles and confirm that the problem's reach had grown far beyond initial estimates. The first phase, while thorough in its intent, ultimately served as a foundational response that bought time for further investigation, ultimately leading to the broader action that would dominate headlines and reshape perceptions of the V35A engine's reliability in Toyota's flagship truck lineup and luxury SUVs. Even as the initial recall phase launched in the spring of 2024 began to address the most immediately identifiable batch of affected vehicles, a troubling pattern refused to subside within Toyota's vast network of service centers' warranty databases and customer feedback channels. Throughout the latter half of 2024 and into 2025, reports of engine failures in Toyota Tundra trucks, and to a lesser extent in related Lexus models, continued to surface with disconcerting regularity, defying expectations that the proactive engine replacements and manufacturing process refinements would swiftly eradicate the issue. These persistent incidents, often involving the same hallmark symptoms of sudden knocking loss of power, illuminated warning lights, and catastrophic engine seizure, signaled to Toyota's engineering and quality teams that the machining debris contamination problem was not confined to the narrow production window originally pinpointed. The escalation became evident through multiple streams of data collection that Toyota maintains as part of its rigorous post-market surveillance obligations under federal regulations. Warranty claims submitted by dealers across North America showed a steady influx of repairs for bearing-related failures in vehicles that had either escaped the first recall scope or, in some alarming cases, had already received replacement engines under the initial campaign, yet still succumbed to similar issues months later. Field technical reports from service technicians detailed teardowns where fresh debris contamination was observed, suggesting that the original cleaning lapses had affected a broader swath of engines than initially calculated. Moreover, customer-initiated complaints lodged directly with the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's Office of Defects Investigation added external pressure as owners documented roadside breakdowns towing expenses, and safety scares that echoed the defect description from the 24 V381 recall. Toyota's internal response involved an intensified forensic analysis program. Failed engines returned under warranty were systematically dissected at dedicated facilities in Plano, Texas, and in collaboration with the Huntsville, Alabama manufacturing plant. Metallurgical examinations using advanced microscopy and chemical spectroscopy repeatedly identified metal particles, primarily aluminum and ferrous alloys matching engine block and machining tool materials, lodged in critical areas such as main bearing shells, oil pickup tubes, and crankshaft journals. These findings challenged the assumption that post-recall production changes, including enhanced ultrasonic cleaning, additional flushing stages, and debris detection protocols, had fully resolved the root cause. In some instances, analysis revealed that debris particles were larger or more numerous than those in the initial cohort, hinting at variations in machining tool wear, coolant filtration efficacy, or even upstream casting processes at supplier facilities that fed raw blocks to the engine assembly lines. By mid-2025, the volume of these ongoing failures had reached thousands of documented cases, a figure that Toyota later acknowledged in regulatory filings and public statements. This accumulation prompted a comprehensive reevaluation of production records spanning not just the early 2022 builds, but extending into late 2023 and even portions of 2024 production. VIN sequencing, engine serial number tracking, and batch traceability data revealed that the inadequate debris clearance occurred intermittently across multiple assembly shifts and lines at both the primary Huntsville plant and supplementary facilities in Japan. The issue appeared tied to specific periods when process controls may have drifted, perhaps due to equipment maintenance intervals, operator training variances, or subtle changes in machining parameters, allowing contaminants to persist despite quality checkpoints. This deeper dive into the data also uncovered secondary failure modes that complicated the picture. While the primary mechanism remained debris-induced bearing wear leading to oil starvation and seizure, some reports indicated accelerated degradation in replacement engines, possibly from residual contaminants in shared oil systems or incomplete flushing during field repairs. Owner forums, social media groups dedicated to Tundra enthusiasts, and independent mechanic channels amplified these accounts, with videos of failed engines showing scored bearings and metal shavings in oil pans circulating widely. Although Toyota cautioned against anecdotal evidence, the sheer consistency across thousands of miles driven, diverse operating conditions, from heavy towing in hot climates to daily commuting, strengthened the case for a more expansive remedy. Collaboration with the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration intensified during this period. Toyota submitted supplemental defect information reports detailing the rising failure counts and expanded population analysis. The agency's reviewers scrutinized these submissions, requesting additional failure rate projections, statistical confidence intervals on defect prevalence, and validation of Toyota's proposed containment measures. This regulatory dialogue ensured that any expansion would meet stringent safety criteria, focusing on vehicles where the risk of sudden power loss remained unacceptably high. The culmination of these ongoing failures came into sharp focus by late 2025, when Toyota's executive leadership authorized a significant escalation. Internal risk assessments projected that without broader action, additional incidents could occur unpredictably, potentially eroding consumer trust in the V35A platform at a time when the Tundra was positioned as Toyota's flagship full-size pickup. The decision to pursue a second, much larger recall phase was driven by this mounting evidence: thousands of post-initial recall failures, persistent debris in later production engines, and the realization that the original containment strategy had not captured the full extent of the manufacturing anomaly. As preparations for the expanded recall advanced, Toyota quietly updated its dealer communications and parts forecasting to brace for a surge in engine assembly orders. The company also refined diagnostic protocols to better identify at-risk vehicles through non-invasive checks, such as oil analysis for metallic particulates or borescope inspections of accessible oil passages, though full confirmation often still required engine removal. This transitional period underscored the challenges of rectifying a latent manufacturing defect in a high-volume product line where millions of components interact under extreme conditions. Ultimately, the ongoing failures that persisted well after the first major recall phase served as the critical catalyst for acknowledging the problem's greater breadth. They transformed what began as a targeted intervention into a company-wide priority, compelling Toyota to confront the limitations of its initial response and commit to a more sweeping resolution. The data from this extended monitoring phase gathered through warranty systems field returns, regulatory reporting, and relentless internal scrutiny form the evidentiary backbone for the dramatic expansion confirmed in November 2025, where over 127,000 additional vehicles would be brought under the safety umbrella, signaling that the machining debris saga had grown far beyond its original boundaries and demanded a proportionally larger corrective effort to protect owners and restore confidence in the affected fleet. Building directly on the mounting evidence from persistent engine failures and the exhaustive re-examination of production data that characterized the transitional months of 2025, Toyota Motor Corporation reached a critical juncture in its handling of the V35A engine defect saga. On November 6, 2025, the company officially announced a substantial expansion of the existing safety recall, a move that dramatically broadened the affected vehicle population and underscored the depth and persistence of the machining debris contamination issue. This second major recall phase formally submitted to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration under an amended or supplemental campaign designation linked to the prior 24 V381 effort, represented Toyota's acknowledgement that the original containment measures had proven insufficient to capture the full scope of the manufacturing irregularity across multiple production years and facilities. The expanded recall added more than 127,000 vehicles to the tally, pushing the cumulative total well beyond the initial 102,000 units addressed in the first phase. This significant increase stemmed from Toyota's updated analysis of field data warranty trends and returned component examinations, which revealed that engines produced in later batches, particularly those from mid-2023 through portions of 2024, exhibited the same vulnerability to residual machining debris. The announcement issued from Toyota's North American headquarters in Plano, Texas, detailed that the action now encompassed certain model year 2022 through 2024 Toyota Tundra full-size pickup trucks equipped with the non-hybrid 3.5-liter twin-turbocharged V6 engine. Critically, this expansion brought in additional model years beyond the primarily 2022 and 2023 focus of the first recall, reflecting discoveries that the inadequate cleaning processes had occurred intermittently over a longer production timeline than first estimated. In a notable broadening of scope, the updated recall incorporated related luxury sport utility vehicles for the first time in greater numbers. Specifically included were certain model year 2022 through 2024 Lexus LX models, the full-size luxury off-roader that shares the V35A powertrain, and for the first time in this engine-specific campaign, the model year 2024 Lexus GX. The Lexus GX redesigned for 2024 on a new platform with enhanced off-road capabilities and premium features. Also utilized the twin-turbo V6 to deliver a balance of power and refinement suitable for its positioning as a mid-size luxury SUV. This inclusion of the GX marked a recognition that the debris issue transcended the Tundra's high-volume truck assembly lines and extended to engines destined for Lexus applications, many of which were produced at Toyota's Tahara plant in Japan rather than solely at the Huntsville, Alabama facility. Toyota's formal defect description in the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration filing reiterated the core hazard while emphasizing the expanded risk profile. Machining debris. Small metal particles generated during critical operations like cylinder boring, journal grinding, and surface finishing could remain trapped in engine internals despite standard cleaning protocols. These contaminants, when circulated by engine oil, posed a threat to main bearing integrity, potentially leading to progressive wear, scoring, overheating, oil pressure loss, and abrupt engine seizure. The company highlighted that such failures could occur without prior warning, especially under demanding conditions such as heavy towing, high-speed cruising, or sustained load, thereby increasing the likelihood of crashes due to sudden loss of motive power steering assist. And braking effectiveness. While Toyota noted ongoing improvements in manufacturing controls, the persistence of field incidents in later-built vehicles necessitated this proactive widening of the safety net. The remedy strategy mirrored the first phase, but scaled to accommodate the larger volume. Authorized Toyota and Lexus dealers were directed to inspect affected vehicles using updated diagnostic criteria, including checks of engine serial numbers, production date codes, and specific configuration identifiers that flagged susceptibility. For confirmed at-risk units, Toyota pledged to replace the entire engine assembly free of charge, including all associated labor, parts, and necessary subcomponents like turbos, oil pumps, and related hardware where applicable. In cases of prior failure or symptomatic vehicles, expedited scheduling was prioritized. The company also arranged for courtesy loaner vehicles, rental reimbursements up to specified limits, and transportation assistance to minimize owner inconvenience during what could be multi-week repair processes given the demand surge on replacement engine supply chains. Notification procedures followed established protocols with heightened urgency. Starting in mid-November 2025 and continuing into the following months, Toyota dispatched first-class mail notifications to registered owners and lessees whose vehicle identification numbers fell within the expanded population. These letters outlined the safety concern, repair process, and instructions to contact dealers promptly for appointments. Owners were directed to Toyota's dedicated recall portal, the Lexus equivalent website, or the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's online VIN lookup tool to confirm eligibility and track status. Dealers received comprehensive technical updates, including revised inspection worksheets, parts ordering guidelines, and quality verification steps for newly supplied replacement engines, which benefited from further refined cleaning regimens, enhanced filtration checkpoints, and post-assembly debris audits. The confirmation of this larger recall drew immediate attention across automotive media, consumer advocacy circles, and owner communities. Publications such as Car and Driver, Consumer Reports, and specialized truck-focused outlets reported on the development, often framing it as a significant escalation that highlighted ongoing quality challenges for Toyota's modern twin-turbo V6 architecture. Safety experts commended the company's willingness to expand coverage despite the substantial financial implications, estimated in the hundreds of millions when accounting for engine costs, logistics, and goodwill gestures, while noting that the move aligned with federal expectations for timely defect remediation. Online discussions in Tundra and Lexus owner groups intensified with threads dissecting the inclusion of newer model years. Questions about hybrid exclusion, the I-Force Max variants, remained largely outside this phase pending separate evaluation, and debates over long-term durability even after replacement. This second and larger recall confirmation in November 2025 thus served as a watershed moment, transforming the Tundra engine issue from a contained early production problem into a multi-year, multi-model campaign affecting well over 200,000 vehicles across Toyota and Lexus lineups. It reflected Toyota's evolving understanding of the defect's footprint, driven by relentless data accumulation and regulatory dialogue, and set the stage for phased implementation that would continue to unfold into 2026. While the action aimed to restore faith through comprehensive coverage, it also amplified scrutiny of the V35A platform's real-world performance, leaving owners industry observers and regulators watchful for whether these expanded measures would finally stem the tide of failures and reaffirm Toyota's storied reputation for enduring reliability in the competitive full-size truck and luxury SUV segments. With the dramatic confirmation of the second and larger recall phase in November 2025 fresh in the public eye, attention inevitably turned to the underlying technical origins of the defect that had now ensnared hundreds of thousands of vehicles across Toyota and Lexus lineups. Toyota Motor Corporation and its detailed submissions to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, including the supplemental Part 573 Safety Recall Report associated with Campaign 25 V767, provided a thorough articulation of the root cause, framing it unequivocally as a manufacturing quality control lapse, rather than any inherent flaw in the fundamental design or engineering of the 3.5-liter twin-turbocharged V6 engine known internally as the V35A. At the heart of the issue lies the engine's production sequence at Toyota's dedicated facilities, most prominently the Toyota Motor Manufacturing Alabama plant in Huntsville, where the majority of V35A engines for North American Tundra and Lexus applications are assembled, supplemented by select output from the Tahara plant in Japan for certain Lexus models. The engine block, a complex aluminum casting that forms the foundation of the power plant, undergoes extensive precision machining to achieve the tight tolerances required for modern high-performance turbocharged engines. Operations such as cylinder bore, honing, main bearing journal finishing, crankshaft tunnel alignment, and oil gallery drilling generate inevitable byproducts: fine metal shavings, microscopic burrs, abrasive particles, and residual swarf composed primarily of aluminum alloys from the block itself, along with traces of iron or steel from cutting tools. Under optimal conditions, these contaminants are systematically removed through a multi-stage cleaning regimen that includes high-pressure coolant, flushing, ultrasonic agitation baths to dislodge embedded particles, dedicated washing stations with specialized detergents, compressed air blowing to clear passages, and final visual or automated inspections using borescopes, particle counters, or magnetic plugs to verify cleanliness. However, during specific production periods, intermittently spanning from late 2021 through portions of 2024, variations in these cleaning processes allowed a particular size range and quantity of machining debris to remain within the engine internals. Toyota's chronology of principal events, as detailed in National Highway Traffic Safety Administration documents, pinpointed these periods through correlation with increased field failure allegations, warranty claim spikes, and teardown analyses of returned engines. The debris, often measuring in the range of microns to tens of microns, proved particularly insidious because of its ability to evade standard checkpoints yet wreak havoc once the engine entered service. Particles could lodge in narrow oil galleries, tiny drilled passages that distribute pressurized lubrication, or adhere to machined surfaces within the lower end assembly. During initial engine break-in or under operational stress, vibration, thermal cycling, and oil flow would dislodge these remnants, sending them circulating through the lubrication system. The primary target became the crankshaft main bearings, precision trimetal or aluminum-based shells seated in the engine block that support the crankshaft's main journals and endure enormous shear forces, heat, and hydrodynamic pressures as the engine rotates at speeds up to 6,500 revolutions per minute or more. When debris particles embed in the relatively soft bearing overlay material, they create microscopic asperities, raised points that disrupt the thin oil film designed to separate metal surfaces. This leads to localized metal-to-metal contact, accelerated abrasive wear, and scoring of both the bearing and the crankshaft journal. As wear progresses, bearing clearance increases, oil pressure drops in critical areas, and heat builds from friction. In severe cases, the bearing material migrates or spins, blocking oil passages entirely and starving downstream components like connecting rod bearings. The result is a cascade: severe knocking from metal contact, catastrophic overheating, complete seizure of the rotating assembly, and abrupt engine failure, often manifesting as a sudden loss of power while the vehicle is in motion. Toyota emphasized in its filings that this sequence stemmed from incomplete debris removal rather than a design vulnerability in the bearing specification, crankshaft geometry, or lubrication architecture of the V35A. The engine itself incorporates advanced features such as variable valve timing on intake and exhaust cams, high-pressure direct injection, twin-scroll turbos, and a robust oiling system with a variable displacement pump to deliver its rated output of up to 389 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque while meeting stringent emissions and durability targets. Independent teardowns and metallurgical reports corroborated Toyota's assessment. The particles consistently matched engine block alloy composition, confirming in-house machining as the source rather than supplier, introduced foreign material, casting porosity, or post-assembly contamination. Further complicating the root cause narrative were observations that the debris issue manifested intermittently rather than uniformly across all engines from suspect periods. Production records showed correlations with specific shifts, machine tool setups, coolant system maintenance intervals, or tooling wear patterns that may have temporarily reduced cleaning efficacy. For instance, if high-pressure wash nozzles experienced partial blockage or ultrasonic bath power dipped below optimal levels, particles could remain trapped in blind holes, crevices around oil squirters, or within the intricate web of oil drainback passages in the block. Once assembled, these contaminants stayed dormant until engine operation mobilized them, explaining why some vehicles accumulated tens of thousands of miles before failure, while others succumbed earlier. Particularly under heavy loads like towing trailers in hot ambient conditions that thinned oil viscosity and heightened bearing stresses. Toyota's response to this root cause identification included not only the expanded recall and engine replacement protocol, but also substantial retroactive enhancements to manufacturing controls. At the Huntsville and Tahara plants, additional cleaning cycles were mandated, real-time particle monitoring sensors installed in wash stations, automated vision systems deployed for final inspection, and stricter acceptance criteria applied to debris counts in oil flush samples. Replacement engines supplied for recall repairs benefited from these upgraded processes, with Toyota asserting that post-remediation units exhibited markedly lower risk profiles based on accelerated durability testing and field monitoring of early replacements. Critics and independent analysts, however, questioned whether the debris explanation fully accounted for every reported failure, particularly in vehicles with replacement engines or those operating under seemingly normal conditions. Some owner communities and automotive commentators speculated about contributing factors such as oil formulation sensitivities, bearing material durability under turbocharged boost, or even software calibration influencing oil pressure delivery. Toyota consistently maintained that comprehensive data from thousands of analyzed failures pointed squarely to manufacturing debris as the predominant and initiating cause, with no evidence of systemic design deficiencies necessitating a platform redesign. In the broader context of automotive quality assurance, this root cause saga illustrates the razor-thin margins in high-volume precision manufacturing. A seemingly minor deviation in cleaning efficacy, perhaps a fraction of a percent shortfall in particle removal, can propagate into widespread field issues when engines face real-world variability in usage patterns, climates, and maintenance habits. For Toyota, the episode represented a humbling reminder that even legendary process discipline requires constant vigilance, especially for a new engine family introduced amid intense competitive pressures in the full-size pickup and luxury SUV markets. As the recall implementation continued into 2026, the detailed root cause findings provided both the technical justification for the sweeping action and the blueprint for preventing recurrence, ensuring that future V35A engines would benefit from lessons etched in metal particles too small to see yet powerful enough to halt a truck in its tracks. In the wake of the second and larger recall confirmation in November 2025, which dramatically increased the number of affected vehicles to well over 200,000 across Toyota Tundra trucks and Lexus LX and GX sport utility vehicles, Toyota Motor Corporation shifted focus toward executing a robust and structured remedy program designed to eliminate the machining debris-related engine risk once and for all. The core remedy remained consistent with the approach established in the first major recall phase, a complete replacement of the suspect 3.5-liter twin-turbocharged V6 engine, designated as the V35A, at no cost to the owner. This full engine swap, often referred to in technical bulletins as a long block or complete powertrain assembly replacement, encompass the engine block crankshaft pistons connecting rods, cylinder heads, turbos intake and exhaust manifolds, and associated ancillary components necessary to restore the vehicle to a like-new condition regarding the powertrain. Toyota's rationale for opting for outright replacement rather than attempted cleaning or partial repair stemmed from extensive internal testing and field data analysis. Partial decontamination methods such as multiple oil flushes, bore scope inspections, or bearing replacements, while retaining the original block, carried unacceptable residual risks given that embedded debris could remain in inaccessible oil passages or micro-crevices, potentially leading to delayed failures even after intervention. By installing a newly manufactured V35A engine built under the enhanced post-2025 production controls, including additional ultrasonic cleaning stages, real-time particle monitoring, improved coolant filtration, and stricter final assembly verification, the company aimed to provide owners with engines that demonstrably exceeded the cleanliness standards of the affected units. These replacement engines incorporated iterative improvements validated through accelerated durability testing equivalent to hundreds of thousands of miles under simulated severe use conditions. The implementation of remedies unfolded in carefully phased rollouts to manage the immense logistical demands. Toyota coordinated with its North American parts distribution network to prioritize stockpiling and production of replacement assemblies at both domestic and international engine plants. Dealers received advance allocations based on regional registration data, with high-volume Tundra markets such as Texas, California, Florida, and the Great Lakes states often seeing expedited shipments. For vehicles already exhibiting symptoms, such as engine knocking, low oil pressure warnings, diagnostic trouble codes related to misfires or crankshaft position sensor, irregularities, or outright stalls, Toyota instructed dealers to create priority technical assistance cases, arrange immediate towing if necessary, and fast-track engine orders. Asymptomatic but recall-eligible vehicles followed a scheduled appointment system, allowing owners to book through dealer service departments or online portals. To facilitate the process, Toyota committed extensive support resources. Most dealers offered courtesy loaner vehicles from their fleets, often comparable Tundra or Lexus models, or provided rental car reimbursements up to a daily and total cap specified in recall documentation, typically covering reasonable expenses during the repair window. In regions with limited loaner availability, transportation assistance such as rideshare credits or shuttle services helped bridge gaps. Repair times varied widely. Straightforward swaps on vehicles without complicating factors could complete in 3 to 7 business days, while those requiring extensive diagnostics, parts back orders, or coordination with body shops for access could extend to several weeks. Toyota emphasized transparent communication, requiring dealers to provide written estimates of timelines and regular status updates to owners. Owner notification represented a cornerstone of the action plan. Following the November 2025 announcement, Toyota began mailing the first wave of interim letters in December 2025, with full owner notification letters dispatched between late December 2025 and early January 2026. These first-class mail notifications sent to the last known registered owners and lessees detailed the safety defect, explained the engine stall risk, outlined the free replacement remedy, and included instructions for scheduling inspections or repairs. Letters also provided a dedicated toll-free customer service hotline, typically 1-8033-14331 for questions, along with references to the official recall campaign number 25, V767 and related prior actions. Owners were strongly encouraged to take proactive steps immediately upon receiving notification or independently verifying eligibility. The primary resource remained Toyota's official recall website at Toyota.com Recall, where entering the 17-character vehicle identification number instantly displayed whether the specific truck or SUV fell under the campaign, along with status updates and dealer locator tools. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's SaferCar.gov portal offered a parallel VIN lookup feature for cross-verification. Toyota advised against continued driving of potentially affected vehicles until remedied, particularly for those used in demanding applications like towing heavy trailers, long-distance highway travel, or commercial hauling, as the unpredictable nature of bearing failure heightened crash risks. For owners who had previously paid out of pocket for engine repairs related to the same debris contamination symptoms, either before formal recall coverage or outside initial scope, Toyota established a reimbursement process. Affected individuals could submit proof of repair invoices, receipts, and related documentation through dedicated channels, with the company reviewing claims on a case-by-case basis for possible refunds of qualifying expenses. This goodwill measure addressed complaints from early sufferers who faced substantial costs prior to the expanded campaign. Throughout the remedy rollout into 2026, Toyota maintained close monitoring via warranty databases, dealer feedback loops, and National Highway Traffic Safety Administration reporting to track repair efficacy and emergence of any new patterns. Dealers performed post-replacement quality checks, including oil analysis for metallic particulates and road tests to confirm smooth operation, with all data funneled back to corporate engineering teams. Owners received follow-up communications confirming completion and advising on any supplementary maintenance recommendations, such as using Toyota-specified synthetic oil and adhering to severe service intervals if applicable. This comprehensive remedies and owner action framework reflected Toyota's effort to balance urgency with thoroughness amid one of its most extensive powertrain campaigns in recent history. By prioritizing free full-engine replacements, robust logistical support, clear communication channels, and proactive eligibility verification tools, the company sought not only to mitigate immediate safety hazards, but also to rebuild trust among Tundra and Lexus owners navigating uncertainty in their high-value vehicles. As phased implementations continued, staying informed through official Toyota and National Highway Traffic Safety Administration resources remained the paramount recommendation for all potentially impacted individuals, ensuring timely intervention before any defect-related incident could occur. As the calendar turned into early 2026, the Toyota Tundra engine recall saga centered on the 3.5-liter twin-turbocharged V6 engine designated V35A. had evolved into one of the most expansive and closely watched powertrain campaigns in the company's recent history, with phased implementations of the November 2025 expansion still actively unfolding across dealership service bays nationwide. Toyota Motor Corporation continued to report steady progress in notifying owners and scheduling repairs under the broadened safety recall, officially tied to National Highway Traffic Safety Administration Campaign 255767 and its predecessors. By January 2026, the majority of owner notification letters for the additional 127,000-plus vehicles had been mailed, with follow-up reminders and digital alerts sent through Toyota's customer portals to ensure maximum reach. Dealers reported a high volume of appointments, particularly for model year 2023 and 2024 Tundra trucks and the newly included 2024 Lexus GX models. As owners heeded warnings about the potential for sudden engine failure due to unresolved machining debris contamination, the remedy execution remained focused on full engine replacements, with Toyota confirming that replacement units now incorporated multiple layers of enhanced manufacturing safeguards validated through rigorous post-production audits. Field monitoring of repaired vehicles showed encouraging early indicators, significantly reduced reports of bearing-related issues in the fleet addressed under both recall phases. However, the company acknowledged in internal updates and regulatory correspondence that a small subset of replacement engines had required secondary interventions in rare instances, prompting further refinements to installation procedures and quality checks at the dealership level. Toyota's North American operations maintain transparent communication channels, including a dedicated recall assistance line and frequent website updates detailing parts availability. Estimated repair timelines, which average 1 to 4 weeks depending on location and backlog, and progress toward full resolution of the affected population. Notably, hybrid variants equipped with the i4C Max powertrain, which combine the V35A with electric motor assistance for higher output and improved efficiency, continued to be largely excluded from the primary engine recall scope through early 2026. Toyota's data analyses and separate investigations suggested that the hybrid configuration's distinct bearing specifications, lubrication flow characteristics, and assembly sequencing at production facilities had not exhibited the same failure patterns. Though the company emphasized ongoing vigilance and promised separate notifications if any emerging concerns arose. This distinction fueled discussions in owner communities about perceived inconsistencies in durability across powertrain options, with some hybrid owners expressing relief while non-hybrid Tundra drivers voiced ongoing frustration over the prolonged uncertainty surrounding their vehicles. The broader implications of this drawn-out recall reverberated throughout the automotive landscape, casting a spotlight on quality challenges associated with Toyota's transition to the twin-turbo V6 platform in its flagship full-size pickup. Industry analysts observed that the episode had contributed to softened resale values for affected model year 2022 through 2024 non-hybrid Tundras, with used vehicle pricing guides reflecting discounts of several $1,000s compared to comparable competitors like the Ford F-150 or Ram 150, particularly for trucks with open recall status or documented engine replacements. Consumer confidence surveys and online sentiment tracking indicated a dip in perceptions of long-term reliability for the redesigned Tundra generation, a stark contrast to the bulletproof reputation enjoyed by earlier VA-powered models that often exceeded 300,000 miles with minimal major repairs. From a corporate perspective, the recall scale encompassing well over 200,000 vehicles when combining both major phases represented a substantial financial commitment with costs for parts, labor logistics, loaner provisions, and potential goodwill reimbursements estimated in the high hundreds of millions of dollars. Toyota's leadership framed the response as a necessary investment in customer safety and brand integrity, highlighting accelerated Kaizen improvements at the Huntsville, Alabama and Tahara, Japan engine plants that included advanced debris detection technologies, automated cleaning verification, and tighter supplier quality protocols. These enhancements, the company asserted, positioned future V35A production, including engines for ongoing Tundra output and other applications, for markedly improved robustness. Regulatory oversight from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration remained active, with the agency reviewing Toyota's quarterly progress reports, failure rate trends in repaired vehicles, and any supplemental defect information that might warrant further action. Safety advocates praised the transparency, but urged continued scrutiny to ensure that no latent issues persisted beyond the current recall boundaries. Meanwhile, class action litigation filed in various jurisdictions alleged economic harm from diminished vehicle values and inadequate initial responses, though Toyota maintained that the comprehensive free engine replacement remedy fully mitigated safety risks and addressed owner impacts. In the competitive full-size pickup segment where durability and dependability heavily influence buyer decisions, the Tundra's engine troubles prompted renewed comparisons to rivals' powertrains, with some market observers speculating that the saga could influence long-term market share dynamics unless Toyota successfully demonstrated sustained post-recall reliability. Owners were repeatedly advised to remain proactive, regularly checking vehicle identification number status on Toyota.com Recall or SaferCar.gov, adhering to recall appointment schedules, and following recommended maintenance practices with Toyota Genuine Motor Oil and severe service intervals where applicable to maximize the longevity of remedied engines. As of early 2026, the recall process continued its methodical advance, with Toyota projecting completion of the bulk of repairs over the coming months while pledging indefinite coverage for eligible vehicles. The situation served as a cautionary tale about the complexities of introducing advanced turbocharged engines in high-demand applications, reinforcing that even industry leaders must navigate manufacturing intricacies with unrelenting precision. For Tundra and affected Lexus owners, the path forward centered on leveraging official channels for updates, securing timely repairs, and monitoring for any further developments that could shape the legacy of this ambitious yet challenged powertrain platform in Toyota's North American lineup.